This is before Facebook. This is before Magic Online. You would go on IRC, talk about decks, play some games of Magic, and now 15 years later, he's here playing at an SCG Open.
Yeah, and he's playing against someone who probably
is not even 15 years old.
Probably definitely wasn't alive when Magic was invented.
Sure. So, all right. So a turn one Sensei's Divining Top get met by a Force of Will.
A quick Force of Will. Joey made sure to counter that.
I wonder.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know his hand. Sometimes allowing top to resolve isn't that bad. You care more about, especially when you have to pitch a counter spell.
Top is really, really powerful in the Doomsday deck.
Sure. But I mean, sometimes you just want to stop their one powerful card, like their Doomsday, for example.
Right.
And it could be often or not. Robert might just have a second topper or whatnot, so you never know what's going on.
So to give you guys a quick rundown of the decks, Robert on your right with Doomsday, it's a little complicated, but it functions, well, it looks a lot like an Ad Nauseam Tendrils deck. He has the Library Manipulation, he has Brainstorms, Ponders in addition to the top. He has Silences and Orm's Chant. He has a few discard spells. He has Rituals, Burning Wish, Lion's Eye, Gitaxian Probe, and Doomsday.
And he has many ways to win.
Right, he does.
He can win with Emrakul. He can win with, a Storm type combo. Whatever he really chooses.
Yeah, after sideboard, his sideboard has 12 unique one-ofs in it, or rather 12 unique cards in it. So after sideboard, his deck could have anything because each one-of makes the deck play out so differently.
Yeah. All right, so as the game progresses, Joey had gotten down a Counterbalance, which is pretty much one of the best cards against the Doomsday deck. However, Robert has, I believe, 3 copies of Abrupt Decay in the sideboard, mainly for Counterbalance.
Right, and that Polluted Delta can go fetch up Trop when he needs it.
Exactly, and the Tropical Island, I believe, is in the sideboard as well.
It is, and yeah. I bet Joey does not know about the Abrupt Decays out of this red, white, blue deck.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's pretty unlikely. But so far, Robert can't even cast the Abrupt Decay, but he's definitely going to be working on getting the mana so he can cast it. There's the Underground Sea, the first part of the Abrupt Decay from being cast.
Right. So Joey has what he thinks is the hard lock, but he doesn't know that Rob has 3 Abrupt Decays. Right?
I think Robert actually has an Abrupt Decay in his hand.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So he's 1 fetch land away from being able to cast it.
Joey Maynard can win in multiple different ways. Helm of Obedience combo. He could just win by Chase the Mind Sculptor. So we'll see what happens.
In Joey Maynard's hand right now, Brainstorm land and Entreat the Angels. So at any time, he's going to be able to Brainstorm, put the Entreat on top, and make an army.
I wonder if Joey will get a game loss or anything for this. He just wrote Elspeth in his sideboard.
Ooh, that's pretty tricky.
Yeah.
There are a few cards that could be, right?
Yeah, Elspeth Knight Errant,
yeah.
Elspeth Tyrell.
There are only 2?
I think there's only 2 Elspeths.
2 Elspeths? I think so too.
Yeah. Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
The judges use a lot of discretion.
Exactly.
They know what Elspeth he's talking about. No one's playing Elspeth Tyrell in Legacy.
Yeah. Except maybe Brian Kibler. That's his favorite card. All right, so now Robert's going to be able to go fetch up that Tropical Island, so he could cast the Abrupt Decay as long as he does have it in his hand. Both these players are 2-0, so Doomsday deck is no joke.
No, the question is, how do you play it?
It's very difficult. You probably want to start your turn that you're going to go off with a Silence, because that's always good. If a Silence resolves, if an Orm's Chant resolves, you're usually in pretty good shape.
So it's pretty interesting. Off to the side here of Robert's deck, he has 1 Chain of Vapor and 1 Idealism down. It's almost like he separated those from the rest of his deck. I think maybe he wanted to make a point that these were the last cards in his deck, or these are the utility cards in his deck. I'm not sure.
All right, so let's see. Robert is using a Sensei's Divining Top again. And we can't really see what's on top of his deck, but he's just figuring out how he's going to set up his combo. What is he going to do?
Right, both these players are playing pretty slow, pretty deliberately. They both know that this game's going to go a while because of this Counterbalance top.
Yeah, and with both players with Sensei's Divining Top, you have to be careful of the clock as well.
Right.
A lot of people are talking about maybe banning Sensei's Divining Top just because it takes so long in Legacy.
Yeah, I like that they banned it in Modern, but Legacy, I don't think Legacy is so dominated by top that they need to ban it.
Yeah, sure. But just the top-on-top matchups do take a long time.
They do.
And Joey will top as well. So both players are just kind of taking it easy here. They're just trying to go back and forth. Joey wants to draw as many counters as he could. He wants to make sure he's leaving the correct mana costing cards on top of his deck, trying to figure out what he wants to do.
Right, and if you're not familiar with Joey's deck, it's a blue-white Miracle deck, a pretty standard one, but it does have the Helm of Obedience Rest in Peace combo. If you don't know the combo, if you get these 2 cards in play and pay 1 for Helm of Obedience, it'll mill your opponent's deck.
Exactly. Because no cards will be going to his graveyard, they'll all be exiled from the game.
Right.
And I mean, Rest in Peace is just good against many decks in general.
It's a great card to have game 1 against half the decks in the room.
Yeah, against Rug Delver, insane. Against Dredge, one of the best cards.
Yep. So Joey Maynor is going to hold off on this Entreat the Angels for a little while because he has to keep mana up to potentially top for counterbalance.
All right, so some more shuffling. And Joey sees the top 3 card. I see a Force of Will, I see a Rest in Peace, and I think I see Jace the Mind Sculptor. I wouldn't mind Joey trying to play Jace the Mind Sculptor.
It's pretty dangerous. I think right now he just wants to make land drops.
Yeah, I guess that's the most important thing. He wants to build up enough lands, and then when he has a couple extra mana, then drop the Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Right, I think we'll see him get up to about 6 lands before he plays Jace. Although now that he has Force of Will, it does make it a little different.
Yes. All right, so Robert's going to crack that Flooded Strand, and he'll probably get that Tropical Island, and he does just that.
Yep, there it is. He might be pulling the trigger on this Abrupt Decay now. It depends what he has planned for his next turn.
I think before he plays an Abrupt Decay, he will probably tap the Tundra, take a look at the top 3 cards, see if he can go for it or not. And it looks like he might be doing just that. So
just like in any format, you want to get the most information before you make the play that commits you to something.
Yeah, and even for a lot of the newer players, when I go to a Friday Night Magic, I'll see players, the first thing they do is they play their spell for the turn. Then they attack, and once the attack's over, their opponent usually thinks their turn is over. That's not the case. Lots of times, the more advanced players will definitely attack first, and then play spells after to give less information to your opponent.
Yeah, at the most recent pre-release, at the Gatecrash pre-release, I was 0-1 and I played against a brand new player. I tried to play a spell second main phase, and he said, whoa, you already attacked.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't even know that there was a second main phase.
All right, so meanwhile, the counterbalance hit the bin. Now Robert is trying to go off this turn. He's leading off with a silence. Maybe it's just bait. Sometimes when you have multiple silence in your hand, you throw the first one out there, see if your opponent wastes a counter on it, and we'll see what happens here. In response is going to be a Brainstorm. All right. Joey's digging. I see a Force of Will. I don't know if I see another blue card.
Even if he had another blue card, it's tough to just Force of Will the silence when you have no when you have no other counter spell to back it up.
Sure.
Silence usually puts you between a rock and a hard place.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's no good option.
Because you could either bait out a counter or not, for example. So Robert's definitely in control of this game. With Joey just having 1 card in his hand, if Robert has anything else, I wouldn't mind just going for it this turn.
Oh, definitely. I mean, at the very worst, you get Joey to 0 cards in hand. He does have a top, so it's not that good.
Yeah. All right, so there's a Ponder.
Okay. So maybe Robert trying to set up a Dark Ritual into Doomsday.
All right, so Robert will look at the top 3 cards of his deck and decide whether or not he wants to shuffle. So he does want to shuffle.
Okay, not finding what he's looking for there.
Yeah. Especially after board, Robert just really wants to drain Joey of all his resources.
Yeah, Joey's next turn is probably going to consist of Entreat the Angels for all his mana.
Yeah, I think Robert has a really good matchup. Game 1 is really, really good for Joey. After board with the Abrupt Decays and other sideboard cards, the matchup definitely favors Robert, in my opinion.
I agree. But the question is, can he win 2 before Joey wins 1?
Yeah, I mean, I think he could. And they definitely have enough time. Even if this game takes another 10 minutes, they'll still have almost 20 minutes to play game 3.
Right. So Rob's hand includes 2 Dark Rituals, it looks like. I think the only piece he's missing is that Doomsday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Joey's just down to 1 card, so... And I mean, Joey already went through one of his counterbalances, 2 Force of Wills, and a counterspell that he exiled.
Right, so Joey, without any counterspells left, he's just going to have to beat Robert down with Angels.
Can you see what the top card in Robert's hand is, or no?
Gitaxian Probe.
Gitaxian Probe, okay.
His hand is Gitaxian Probe, Shelldock Isle, 2 Dark Ritual. Not sure about the top of his deck, though.
Yeah, I actually saw Robert play the previous round, and he led off with turn 1 Gitaxian Probe, Cabal Therapy, take both his opponent's Tarmogoyfs, so his opponent just had no pressure, and Robert was able to have enough time to do what he wanted to do.
Exactly. If you give this deck enough time, it'll combo you off with multiple silence backups.
Yes. All right, so Joey uses his Sensei's Divining Top, rearranging the top 3 cards of his library. I'm not a combo player myself. I actually really dislike combo, but Doomsday is just definitely a really cool deck. And I'm excited to see the Oops All Spells deck.
Yeah, I hope we can get that one on next round.
Or as Zach calls it, the Oops No Spells deck.
Oops, no spells. If only there was the no land mulligan rules. Still,
Yeah.
Huh? That deck would be pretty good.
Definitely it would.
Free serum powders.
Yeah, Robert's sideboards is pretty interesting. Just a bunch of one-ofs. The only card that's not a one-of is the 3 Abrupt Decays.
Yeah, he has 1 Leyline of Sanctity. He has 1 Cabal Therapy. He has 1 Massacre.
Massacre, that's an interesting choice.
1 Time Spiral.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right, so this game, actually, the more I think about it, this game might go on for a few more turns, so they might be running out of time for a game 3 if it goes to it.
Yeah. I'm really surprised Joey didn't make a bunch of Angels there.
I mean, a bunch of Angels is how many, right?
Well, no, because he cast the Brainstorm.
Yeah.
And he put the Entreat back on the top of his deck.
Exactly, and then he decided to shuffle it away.
Right. But out of counterspells, out of resources, I would have expected him to just make Robert have it.
All right, so there's a Rest in Peace. Rest in Peace pretty much has no effect on Robert's deck. I mean, obviously Doomsday, but other than that, it's not that impactful against him.
Right. It might disrupt him minorly, but it's not going to make him jump through hoops. He doesn't have to bounce it before he goes off.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
So here we see a Gataxian Probe and a Ponder in his hand.
Yeah. So I think he's going to lead off with Gataxian Probe, and he'll see his opponent's hand and he'll decide whether or not if he wants to ponder this turn, which I think he will.
Yeah, probably. He probably feels the pressure here. With his opponent having a Sensei's top, it's only a matter of time before he finds a counterbalance or a Helm of Obedience to go with his rest.
Yeah, it's risky for both players. It's pretty much what's on top of each player's deck that's going to determine who's going to win this game.
As it so often comes down to in Legacy.
Yeah. So Robert's thinking, having Sacklands with Sensei's Divine top is really nice. It's just get to dig deeper into your deck, get to see what's going on. All right, so there's a Ponder he's going to lead off with? No, not yet. Yeah, I think he wants to sacrifice the Polluted Delta first, which he does, exactly that.
He clears the top of his deck. He's just really looking for a Doomsday. If he draws a Doomsday, he should win. I don't know what Joey's last card is, but...
So he gets a basic Swamp. Still can't hard cast a Doomsday, but it doesn't matter because he has a Dark Ritual in his hand, at least one.
He would actually probably love to find a Brainstorm to put a Dark Ritual back.
Alright, so his hand is Ponder, Dark Ritual, the Isle. Alright, so he leads off with a Ponder after the Gataxian Probe. And he's going to shuffle his deck.
Wow,
so,
really cannot find what he's looking for.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But I mean, he's going to get a draw here. Then also he's going to be able to dig 3 cards deeper with the Sensei's Divine top. So that's essentially 4 cards.
And even though he's tapping down to 1 mana to do that with the top, those 2 Dark Rituals in hand mean that he has all the mana he needs.
Yeah, I mean, he has Tropical Island, he has Underground Sea, he has Swamp, so... Instead he's going to pass the turn. Ooh, there's the Entreat the Angels. So I'm pretty sure Joey's going to go for the Entreat now. He's just going to leave the Entreat on top of his deck, and then he'll draw and... no, actually he'll just put the Entreat second, so he can make another Angel.
Right, and then he'll miracle on Rob's turn.
Yeah, and he could kill Robert exactly, because he'll have 16 points of damage.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is Robert's last turn, and
though he doesn't know it.
He doesn't know it. But Joey out of counters, I believe.
Yep, it looks like Abrupt Decay, Lion's Eye, and a land for Rob.
What is Joey's blue card in his hand?
I think we should know it from Gataxian Probe, but I didn't see it. He flashed it really quickly.
Yeah.
Rob knows it, yes. Whatever it is.
Okay. So Robert's thinking, what can I do? Oh, he passes the turn. This is bad news.
So
why did he Abrupt Decay?
I don't know. He could have gotten 1 more draw step if he saved that Abrupt Decay for the Entreat. Now, if your opponent uses the Sensei's top at the end of turn, that means they're miracling. That's the only thing that can mean. So a little sloppy play by Rob there.
So I guess Rob's looking for something here. I guess he's looking for a Silence.
Oh yeah, with the Miracle trigger on the stack, Silence would do it. So he'll get a scrub land, a beautiful array of lands he has there.
So Silence or Orange Chant would do it, correct?
Yep, and I think he has 4 combined left in his deck.
Okay.
So he's drawing pretty live here.
Yeah, probably about a 8% or something.
Something like that, maybe even more than
that. Maybe like 10%. All right, we'll see what happens. I still just see a Dark Ritual and the Isle in his hand.
Lion's
Ooh,
Eye.
there it is. Wow, that's sick. All right, there's a silence. Wow, maybe Robert just set this up perfectly. He's like, yeah, I'm going to abrupt decay the Sensei's Divining Top, and then I'm going to cast silence on you.
Yep, he knew it was there.
Okay, so it was a brainstorm this last card in his hand.
Okay,
yeah,
so now Joey
makes
will
sense.
brainstorm, put Entreat back on top.
Ooh.
And there's a red elemental blast.
Yeah, a blast and a counterbalance.
Oh, wow.
There's a counterbalance. There's a top. Ooh, okay, so now it's, you know.
What a brainstorm.
Yeah.
He finds red blast, counterbalance, and Sensei's top.
Just when we were all excited for Robert, like, yeah, Robert made a sick play, you know?
Yep.
Now what can he do? Can he even play that Sensei's Divining Top?
Yeah, he for sure can.
No, how? He plays it, and then he just puts the top on top.
Yeah, well, it at least makes him do it.
I mean, I think he's just has to hold it. It's just him discarding a top.
See, the problem with that is now he just gets entreated.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's just really bad for him. So this match looks like it's gonna go to Joey.
Yeah, I think Robert will get one more turn, and the only way that he's going to be able to win is if he draws an abrupt decay, clear the way for Sensei's Divining Top. That might do it. Although I think he knows his top card.
Yeah, I believe it was just 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds that he had on top of his deck.
We'll see what Joey does here. He might not pull the trigger on this entreat now that he has the lock in place.
All right, so Joey draws for his turn.
Yeah, he's not doing it. He's giving Rob a little more time.
No, well, he's just going to do it on Robert's end step.
So Joey flashes the red blast.
Signifying, hey, you know, I have the entreat on top and with the blast backup.
Yep.
Robert's just thinking, all right, anything I could do. But I'm pretty sure he's just out of options here. Just a really good brainstorm from Joey. Made the game go into his favor and ultimately close out the game.
Yeah, Robert just could not find a Doomsday for the life of him.
Doomsday. Who would think that when that card was made, you know, 15 years later, it's like a deck named around it, you know?
It's the most complicated combo deck in Legacy.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. So Robert casts Dark Ritual, and with 2 black floating, he casts the Sensei's Divining Top. Joey will trigger the balance.
This is all in response to the Sensei's Divining Top, it looks like. Joey separating his mana.
And wow, top resolves. With one of those black mana floating, Rob will activate his top.
I see a Ponder. Is that an Abrupt Decay?
I think it is.
An Abrupt Decay, a Lion's Eye Diamond. So I guess he only had 1 Lion's Eye Diamond on top. Not sure what Rob could really do here.
I think he has to draw Ponder, use top to draw Abrupt Decay, and maybe try and go for some Abrupt Decay, then ponder into a Doomsday plan.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be for turns later.
Right, that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Joey's just going to go for the Entreat and lock up the game here. He's able to Entreat for 5 Angels, so Robert would need to kill 2 Angels for him to just live another turn.
So Rob activates top, draws a Ponder, and now he'll tap Tundra for this Ponder.
Do you think Joey's just going to counter this or no? There's really no need to.
I don't think he has to, no.
So Ponder resolves. Robert's going to shuffle.
I don't think we've seen Robert keep a Ponder this whole game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would matter though, really. He could Diabolic Tutor for a card and he'd probably still lose this game.
Yeah. Robert just drawing pretty poorly with his Doomsday deck. Oftentimes these combo decks that rely on 1 card, they're really consistent except when they can't find that card and then they do nothing.
Exactly. So this is a Cataxian Probe, just really prolonging the beating that Robert's going to take from the Angels.
So what are we looking at here? Storm count?
Yeah, Storm count. I would be shocked if Robert actually wins this game.
It would be pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Joey would have to.
The Storm looks like to be 5.
Okay.
And I believe Robert has black in his mana pool.
I don't see any Storm cards. I guess he could have 1 Tendrils of Agony in his deck after sideboarding.
Yeah, yeah. He has 1 tendrils.
He could be trying to look for that. And counterbalance can't counter tendrils, that's for sure.
And we don't even know if the tendrils is in his main deck or not.
Right, he could
because it's game 2. He doesn't have any tendrils in the main deck. He has 3 burning wishes. So, all right, there's a treat the angels.
This is in response to the Gitaxian probe, so the top will go to the top of the deck. Counterbalance will counter the probe. And yep, Robert shows his hand, concedes.
All right, so Joey Manor moves on to 3-0 with his blue-eye control deck. Robert Cuellari falls to 2-1 with his Doomsday deck. Doomsday deck is a very difficult deck to follow along. It's so many options. You don't know if he's going to combo, if he's not going to combo.
For most of the game, the deck just does nothing, and then on one turn, much like Storm, it'll go off.
Yes, exactly. All right, so we're going to come back to us in the booth, and then we're going to